going to give you a few reasons why people shouldn't vote Donald Trump in as President of the United States. Number one is plan of building a wall. He has this idea that he can stop people from coming over by building the wall. There's a lot of them is going to find ways to get under the wall because the cartel's already proved that can be done. Just like that prisoner that escaped, he had people dig some tunnels. I mean, what's to say the immigrants can't figure out how to do that? And another thing is the way he operated on Celebrity Apprentice. And the main example of that would be the season with Lou Ferrigno on it. And which he's done it to others. Each season, every time a project was like completed, he would always sit the teams down in the boardrooms and ask them who was the weakest link on each team. Every time, it never failed. Even though sometimes he did fire the project manager or the person that did write it. I say about 9/10 of the time, or maybe not that much, but probably about 8 out of 10 times, they always would choose not the writer or the project manager, but maybe a person who did more of the physical, like Lou Ferrigno. Each time, their team lost. Most of the time, Aubrey and Lisa Lampanelli were the project managers or the main writers or whatever. But each time, they would throw Lou Ferrigno under the bus for not being more on the creative side of it, or not being the project manager. In one case, even far as they was going to set Lou up for failure. I mean, that was in the words of Clay Aiken. There was time that Lou Ferrigno tried to give them advice, and they wouldn't take that advice. And a lot of times, I know there was one case, but they lost for the very reason they didn't do the suggestion, whatever Lou Ferrigno suggested to them, and that turned out to be what caused them to lose that time. The main point I'm getting at, Donald Trump always narrowed it down to each time somebody lost to the person who wasn't necessarily in control or part of the creative process. It was always the person on the physical end. My concern in when one of his policies go wrong, who's he going to blame? I'm seeing it as he's going to place somebody not on his cabinet, but maybe the guy who does his lawn. He didn't mow it good enough for him, and it stressed him out, and this and that happened, and he failed. And what if we have a recess or whatever, like imports, a lot of factory workers or whatever, and a lot of jobs start going overseas or whatever? Who's Donald Trump going to put the blame on? Because there's a lack of production, he's going to blame the companies? Or the factory workers themselves? The way I'm seeing it, he ain't going to blame the business part of it. He's always going to blame the workers. Therefore, the workers ain't doing good, so we can't keep jobs over here. He'll send them overseas somewhere because it's getting done cheaper, and they might, put it out a little faster or whatever. The moral of the story is Donald Trump ain't never gonna blame the people that are in charge, the business side of it. He's gonna look past that and look on down to the field workers, the physical, the labor workers, like he did with Lou Ferrigno. Now, what if our military fails in some way in a crisis or whatever? Is he gonna blame the business part of it? No. I just, basing upon what he did on Celebrity Apprentice, he's more than likely gonna try to blame the soldiers themselves for failing to do their job, and probably gonna reprimand them pretty bad for it. I mean, he just seems like that type of guy that would do these actions. If he'd do it on a reality show, what's gonna stop him from doing that in the White House? And I think he's very capable of doing it. If he can do it in one scenario, he can do it in the other. But that's my thoughts on why people shouldn't vote for him.